Welcome back to the Business Ignite podcast, where we light the fire for business growth and marketing success. Your hosts, Ethan Walker and Samantha Reed, bring you the latest trends, expert insights, and actionable strategies to fuel your business journey. Let's ignite your potential.
Okay, so have you ever gotten that feeling? You know that feeling when you're on a website and it's like you're trapped in a labyrinth?
Oh, absolutely. You click on a link and suddenly you're 3 levels deep, lost in a rabbit hole of irrelevant content, wondering how you even got there.
Exactly. And it's the worst. It's like the opposite of user-friendly. But that's why this deep dive is so perfect. We're talking about what makes a website actually good. Not just pretty pictures, but like a truly well-oiled machine.
Right, because a pretty website that's impossible to use is just frustrating.
Preach. So we're looking at this article from 95 Visual, a web design company called Aspects of Good Web Design. It breaks down 5 key elements, and the first one is navigation. Which makes sense when we're online. We usually have a purpose, a goal in mind.
And nobody wants to waste time wandering around lost in cyberspace.
Totally. So what does the article say about nailing that navigation, making it smooth?
It's all about clarity and intuitiveness, like having clear menus that make sense. Nobody should have to hunt for what they're looking for. And a logical site structure. Oh, and you know what else can be super helpful? Those breadcrumbs you sometimes see on websites.
Oh, breadcrumbs. I know exactly what you mean. They show you where you are within the site's structure, like a little digital trail.
Right. It's like you can always find your way back if you need to. It's funny how you don't really think about those things when they're there, but when they're absent, you really feel it.
Like those things in life you don't appreciate until they're gone, right?
Yes. Good navigation is like that invisible when done well, but glaringly absent when it's not. And it's not just about desktops anymore either. You've got to think about mobile.
Oh, 100%. With mobile browsing being so prevalent, you've got to make sure the site works seamlessly on those tiny screens.
Exactly. It's all about anticipating how a user might interact with the website, whatever device they're on, and making that journey as frictionless as possible.
And speaking of, that seamless experience, let's talk about consistency.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a website where, you click to a new page and suddenly it's like, bam,
Yeah.
different fonts, different colors, completely different vibe?
Oh, the worst. You've been transported to a whole other website.
It's jarring. Like, what just happened?
Totally. And the article points out that maintaining consistency across your website is super important for building trust.
Makes sense. When the design is consistent, it creates a sense of familiarity. You know what to expect, right?
Exactly. It's like you walk into a store and the lighting, the music, the way the products are displayed, it all has the same feel. It just makes you feel comfortable and confident in that brand.
It's like this brand knows what it's doing. They've got it together.
Yes, exactly. It's like a visual reassurance that you're in the right place and that you can trust this brand to deliver a consistent experience.
I like that. Visual reassurance. And on the flip side, if a brand you thought was super sleek and modern suddenly hits you with, Comic Sans and clashing colors, you'd be a little thrown off.
Totally. Be like, wait, is this even the same company? That inconsistency can really undermine a brand's credibility.
Okay, so we've got navigation and consistency, 2 biggies for a smooth user experience. But now let's get real. Let's talk about practicality.
Because at the end of the day, a website has to actually work.
Seems obvious, but you'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's like you can have this amazing, beautiful car, but if the engine doesn't start, what's the point?
It's all for show, but you're not getting anywhere.
Right. And I think practicality, it's about going beyond the surface level, beyond just do the links work? Does the contact form go through? And really thinking about what the user is trying to do on the website.
So thinking about the user's goals and making sure the website helps them achieve those goals.
Exactly. Let's say you're on an e-commerce site. Can you easily find what you're looking for? Is it easy to compare products, to see the prices, to actually make a purchase?
Right. Or if it's a blog, like the one on 95 Visual's site, is the content laid out in a way that makes you want to actually read it? Is it easy to navigate?
And another aspect of practicality that's so crucial but sometimes overlooked is accessibility.
Oh, absolutely. Making sure the website is designed to be usable by everyone, regardless of any disabilities they might have.
Exactly. Things like, alt text for images, keyboard navigation, good color contrast, those details really matter.
It's like those details, they might seem small, but they make a huge difference in creating a truly inclusive experience.
Right. And that's really what sets a well-designed website apart. It's not just about looking good. It's about working well for everyone who visits.
It's about making the experience enjoyable for everyone.
Hmm.
So we've talked about usability, we talked about trust, about accessibility. Now let's talk about how to make a website actually enjoyable to use. And that's where I think simplicity comes in.
Because in the online world, it's so easy to get overwhelmed with information. There's just so much coming at us all the time.
Right. It's like sensory overload.
Exactly. And so a website that embraces simplicity, that gives your eyes a break, that prioritizes the most important information, that's a breath of fresh air.
It's like that feeling of calm you get when you declutter a space.
Yeah.
You know? You can actually breathe again.
Exactly. And the article, it talks about how white space, or the empty space around content, is actually super important.
Yes. It's like giving the design room to breathe, you know?
Right. It's not just about cramming as much stuff as possible onto a page. It's about creating visual balance and letting the content shine.
I'm looking at 95 Visual's site again, and I'm noticing how they use white space really well. It's not minimalist or anything, but it just feels very balanced and easy on the eyes.
They've found that sweet spot, that balance between visual appeal and ease of use.
Which, speaking of visual appeal, brings us perfectly to our final principle appeal.
Because, of course, we want websites to be visually appealing, right? But it's more nuanced than you might think.
Right. It's not just about slapping on a fancy font or a pretty stock photo. It's about creating a look and feel that's both aesthetically pleasing and aligned with the brand's overall identity.
Exactly. Like, a law firm is going to have a very different visual language than, say, a children's clothing brand.
Totally different vibes. One might be more serious and trustworthy, while the other might be more playful and colorful.
Exactly. And that's where a deep understanding of the target audience comes in. It's like, who are you trying to reach with this website?
And what kind of impression do you want to make on them?
Right. And how can you use design elements to evoke those desired emotions and associations? Because, you know, when you're browsing online, you don't always consciously think about it, but those subtle design choices, they really do influence your perception of a brand.
A website that's both visually appealing and relevant to your interests?
Yeah.
That's a website you're going to want to spend time on.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, right? Creating an engaging and memorable online experience.
It's like you're walking into a place and you immediately know you're going to have a good experience. It just feels right.
Exactly. Good design, it transcends the screen. You know, it's about creating those feelings, that sense of welcome, of engagement, whether it's a physical space or a digital one.
This has been, I got to say, so eye-opening. I mean, I thought I knew a thing or two about websites, but I never really considered all these different elements that go into making a website truly exceptional.
It's a craft. A lot of thought goes into it.
It really is. So for our listeners out there, those who maybe haven't given a ton of thought to the anatomy of a good website, what would you say is like the most important takeaway?
That's a good question. I think it's about shifting your perspective a bit. Don't just look at websites. Experience them. Put yourself in the visitor's shoes.
I like that, experience them. Don't just look.
Right. And ask yourself, is it easy to use? Is it enjoyable? Does it make me want to stick around? Does it make me trust this brand?
So it's not enough to just have a website. You got to have a website that actually works on all these different levels.
Exactly. It has to be functional, it has to be visually appealing, it has to be user-friendly, and it's got to connect with your audience on an emotional level.
So much great advice packed into one deep dive.
Yeah.
Hopefully this inspires some folks to, maybe spruce up their own little corner of the internet.
Definitely. Because these principles, they apply whether you're a multinational corporation or, a local bakery with a simple website.
A good website is a good website, regardless of what it's about.
100%.
Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to log off and let everyone get back to browsing. Hopefully with a newfound appreciation for all the things that make a website truly great.
Happy browsing, everyone.
And until next time, keep on diving deeper.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Ignite podcast, where we fuel your business growth and marketing success. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate and review us. It does help others find the show. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Business Ignite Podcast and share this episode with a friend. Keep the fire burning, and remember, your success is just one strategy away. Until next time, stay ignited.